I guess I wanted to share the first one with you, and it's surround yourself with good people. This is something that this is my strongest belief. My strongest belief is that the people that we have around us is everything. When you're flat, they'll pick you up. When they're flat, you'll pick them up. Like it's a great cycle. And if the people around you make you angry, if you're jealous and envious and whatever of them, get rid of it. You don't need them.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Deep MCs, the podcast that seeks to push meaningful conversation to a whole new level. Whether it's for your entertainment or your personal growth, we appreciate you being here today. And now, on to the show. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Deep MCs. We have something amazing for you guys. Amazing for you guys. You have no idea what is in store for you. We have a special guest. I can't even begin. I'm kind of fanboying out here right now. But the one, the only Matt Grant, right? From Real Life with MG. You guys know him all the way from the land down under, man. Matt, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, man.
Tell us about you, my man.
What do you want me to say after an introduction like that? I'm lost for words. Wow. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. I love doing this. I love connecting with people,
That's
all
awesome.
around the world. And, well, so just a little bit about myself. My name is Matt Grant. I'm from Sydney, Australia. As Shepard just mentioned, I've got a podcast called Real Life with MG. And my Instagram handles are @_Matt_Grant_. I don't know if you want me to dive deeper, or we'll do that soon, or if that's all you need now.
I'm living in your world right now, my man. It's whatever you want to do, right? Oh, I do have a question for you, though. And you're being there in Australia, and you may be a little biased, but this is the most important. This is the deepest question you make. No, I'm just joking, but this is a real question. Chris Hemsworth. Is he on the juice? You're a fitness man yourself, right? We need the answer.
I'm happily married to a woman, but I tell you what, Chris Hemsworth, I would go there. Is he on the juice? Look, Australia is a bigger place than you think. I don't know if I can answer that question. I own a gym as well, so I'm not sure if I'm supposed to judge people.
Hey, that's why I wanted to know. I said, this is the man who is in Australia. He has his own gym. He knows if Chris is down there juicing. We're doing a little thing here where we're trying to be. We have a getting in shape challenge, if you will. There's about 6 of us that are doing it. And, one of the main, the reason why you're such a perfect guest is because you are a man that pushes mental health awareness to an insane level. And you're like one of the most genuine, passionate, like caring people that I've seen, and you take it real serious, and you're like a real dude just giving real advice, right? So you have that aspect, but you're also a gym owner as well. Mental health is a lot about, there's more than just the mental aspect. When you feel good, you work out. That does play huge into it. So you touch on both ends, really, the mind, body, and soul. Really all the way through, man. And that's kind of why I wanted to have you on, just to hear a little bit about your journey and just kind of talk to us about, everything, man. I'm just excited to talk to you. You have no idea, bro.
Yeah, man. Well, look, my biggest thing is people, and people come to my gym to connect with other people, and I've been through a hell of a ride, which I'll share with you. I'll share where my passion for helping people with their mental health comes from. But as far as my gym goes, like, I'm all for getting people in shape, giving people bigger arms and smaller waistlines and stuff like that, but that's nothing on the mindset. When you watch people become happier, become more confident, be more comfortable in sharing their own stories and stuff like that, like, this is what I'm about, and this is where my gym idea comes from. And also, like, I run a lot of these events which are based out of the gym, which again, it's all about bringing humans together and having these great conversations. But
no, for sure, man.
Look,
and
if you
it's kind of crazy. I don't mean to cut you off, man, but you know, it's just crazy to see. And what really drew me into kind of what you do is just seeing like the person that you are. And you know, I'm sweating under these lights here. I apologize. It is hot. But the thing is that, you know, from an Instagram perspective, right? Like, you know, if I'm just scrolling through, you know, not really paying too much attention, right? You got this, you're a good looking dude. You're an in shape dude. You got the accent, which the ladies love, right? I mean, Australia is where it's at right now, right? But at the same time, to see someone be like, hey, I suffer from this, like, I never would have guessed, like, just by passing by and looking at you, just to see like everything you have going for you, you know, the way that you are, the way that you carry yourself, never would have said this is a guy that, you know, has suffered with these mental health things and is trying, you know, to get through them on his own. So that's huge. That's huge to me. And yeah, I mean, if you could tell a little bit about that story or your journey in itself, man, that'd be great.
Of course. Look, I always felt different. I always felt different to other people, and I never really knew why. I went through life, and, you know, growing up, I was the life of the party. Like, I was good looking. I was really, really fit. Like, all I did was exercised, and there was always something missing. And, you know, I felt like I just felt so unique, and not in a good way, you know, because I watched everyone around me, and everyone around me seems so happy, but they don't have the beautiful wife or the 3 kids or the, you know, all this great stuff that I've got, but I'm missing something inside. And let me take a few steps back. When I was about 21 years old, I suffered from chronic fatigue. Have you guys heard of chronic fatigue before?
I'm not real familiar.
No, not familiar.
What about glandular fever? Do you know what glandular fever is?
No.
You can drop knowledge on us, right?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, look, I'm not like a doctor, so I'm not going to give you like the real technical terms, but pretty much glandular fever is an illness which is like you get through saliva, and you get really, really, really tired and really, really sick. And I was partying a lot. Again, this was like 19, 20, 21. I was partying a lot, like going out on a Friday night and coming home on a Sunday night. You know, I was training twice a day, every day. If I didn't train twice a day, like I'd run in the morning and do weights at night. And that was kind of what I did. And I had a really stressful job in that I wasn't making money and had all these bills. And this just led to this illness of chronic fatigue. And chronic fatigue is, I'm not sure if you guys drink, but, you know, if you guys do, I'm sure you've had a hangover before, but you wake up in the morning and you feel like you can't get out of bed. And that's every single day. Even though, like, I had to stop drinking at the time. So it's not like I was partying and I was literally hungover, but I would wake up and like my eyes are bloodshot. I couldn't get out of bed. And, you know, I was bedridden for 6 months. You know, I couldn't get out of bed. And
wow.
So was that brought on by your schedule? Like the consistency of your schedule just really just wore your body to that point where you fell into this scenario? Is that how it happened?
Absolutely, man.
Oh, okay.
So within the my, you know, aggressive, let's say, lifestyle, that's when I kind of developed this glandular fever illness, which again, it makes you tired. Like kids get it in high school and have to take months off school, weeks off school and stuff. But and then I developed this chronic fatigue, and it was just horrible. And I still put on that brave face. I still got up and went to, after spending a bit of time in bed, when I got back to work, I didn't tell anyone. I just kind of got on with life, and I was struggling, man. And this led to depression. Yeah. And the feeling of depression is like you've just got something missing in you. like I was speaking about before, like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not happy? Why am I not laughing at this movie? Why am I not excited to go to a party anymore? Why am I not keen to go and exercise? There's just a part of me that's just not there anymore. And when I spoke to my mum about this, she said, "Oh, it sounds like you've got depression." And I was like, "What the hell is depression? Like the Great Depression? Like what? I've never, this was 10 years ago, or 10, 15 years ago. And I think in this day and age, it's spoken about a lot, mental health and depression and anxiety. But back then, I'd never heard of it.
Yeah.
And so she sent me to a doctor, and then that started my journey of recovery. But look, still the next 10 years, I didn't tell anyone. There was only 2-3 years ago that I mentioned that I reached out about my mental health. And that was a complete game changer. I wouldn't be having this conversation right now with you fine people if I'd never reached out about my mental health, because I've created these great opportunities. You know, I've helped people around me because now they feel confident to open up about their mental health. And
what do you feel like was the trigger that allowed you to begin to share? What happened, or what door opened that allowed you to begin to, you know, kind of let the cat out of the bag, if you would?
Look, it was a long road, and I don't want to say that there's been points where I've wanted to end my life. Like there hasn't been points where I've literally gone to commit such a horrible thing. However, there's been some really, really dark thoughts in my mind where I've just felt worthless and like I just don't want to be here anymore. And there was one moment, I was actually in the bedroom right there, and I was crying. I just absolutely just lost it. I just couldn't stop, and I just kind of looked up, and that's when there was a tiny little voice in the back of my head that just said, "Matt, reach out to someone, because you cannot sit in this room like this." So I messaged my dad, my best friend, and my wife, and as soon as that message went out, my dad called me straight away. He left a meeting and called me straight away. Then on the other line, my wife was trying to get through, and then I was receiving text messages from my best mate saying, "I'm trying to call you, I'm trying to call you, I'm trying to call you." And I wasn't saying I'm going to kill myself. I just messaged them saying, "Hey, I'm in a really dark place right now."
Yeah.
And that's a moment that I remember as a big turning point for me. I saw that those people were there for me, and that's when I kind of, and not in that moment, but that's kind of where I created my first mental health event, and that's when I kind of announced to the world, "Hey guys." And when I say the world, it was, you know, an Instagram post. How else do you do it these days? Just saying that I suffer from depression, and my phone blew up. Like the amount of people like, "Maddie, me too. Oh, I hope you're okay. What do I do? Blah, blah, blah." It just shows that vulnerability is so important. And, you know, we don't want to see our friends, our loved ones, our, you know, work colleagues, our podcast co-hosts suffering in silence.
Yeah, of course.
No, man, I will definitely say though, man, you are just following what you're doing, you know, and I'm excited for the new season too. You know, you're announcing you have a lot of stuff coming up, so you guys need to keep an eye out for that, because if you haven't followed Matt Grant yet, you should be. He has a lot of new things that are coming up, but you are definitely someone, my man, that I aspire to be like, man. Like you motivate me, just for the fact that, you know, I'm a depression guy myself. You know, that is something that hits me pretty hard, pretty frequently. But I haven't got to that point where now with the podcast, it's kind of helping a little bit and talking about those things, but I haven't really had that little voice in the back of my head to have me open up and say, "Hey, you know, I'm fucked up. I need help," you know? But watching you, man, just seeing the stuff that you do, it is inspiring for real. And, you know, I know You know, you talk to a lot of people, you talk to a lot of stuff about this, and I'm sure probably people tell you all the time, but if they don't tell you, man, I mean, I thank you for what you're doing. You know, what you're doing is you're putting light into the world, and that's something that we all really need right now, my man, for sure. So, you know, just hearing your story and seeing that's big. It's big.
Look, I don't know what to say, man. Like, again, I'm a bit of an emotional bugger, and it just like words like that hit my heart more than you could ever imagine. You know, like, you don't, I know you say you're grateful that I share messages and stuff, and thank you, and I'm glad that I'm helping you, but it just shows that, like, giving credit where it's due can go such a long way, and just hearing you say that, like, it brings tears to my eyes, man. So look, thank you so much. But on your, not that I'm a psychologist or a counselor or anything, but what are you doing for your mental health? Are you exercising? Are you getting sunlight? Are you drinking water? Are you sleeping?
For sure. No, I mean, and the things that you're saying are all good, and it's kind of a question I want to get to too. And you know, if you have advice for the people that are listening on how they deal with it, but for me right now, you know, I will say that getting back into this this workout challenge with the guys has kind of put me in a better mood. You know, moving the body makes a huge difference for sure. You know, water for sure, getting back into it. You know, I try to get my gallon a day. You know, maybe that's too much, maybe it's not. I'm peeing all the time, but it is what it is. You know, and if you can't tell, dude, I sweat, and once I start, I can't stop. So getting outside is very difficult for me, because I do 2 minutes outside, I'm soaked through, you know, sweat running down to my socks. But I will say that there has been times, man, where if I'm not getting outside and I'm not, you know, getting that real world daylight, dude, I can feel it. You know, I can feel it like a dark cloud over me, man. But yeah, you know, I'm a work in progress for sure, man. But I mean, for you, what do you do? What do you recommend? How do you deal? Like, throw some stuff at me, man. I want to hear how you deal with things when they come around.
So the reason why I mentioned those few things that I mentioned is because we tend to forget about the basics. You know, you think, all right, I'm fucked up. I've got this chemical imbalance in my brain that's making me depressed, and, you know, I feel flat, low, worthless. But if we look at the rest of our life and what we're actually doing, you know, like, I've got mates who will be like, I'm so depressed. I'm like, you've been doing drugs every weekend for the last few months. Like, you're not sleeping all weekend. You're eating like shit. Like, am I allowed to swear, by the way?
Oh, you can, man, whatever you want to say. Put it all out there.
But, you know, going back to basic, we all know the basics. Like, I could sit here, not that I know it, but if I sat here and told you the science behind, you know, why we're depressed and what happens to our brains, and sure, that could be quite interesting. I'm not sure, but this is stuff that people can look at and go, oh, okay, well, that's a thing, and then just go on with their life. But if I say sleep is important, if I say getting some natural sunlight is important, like your workout challenge, like, it is, there's so much that hits me there. I mean, A, it's exercise, it's going to make you feel better. B, you're connecting with other people. I mean, human connection is the number one thing that we need to be doing, connecting with people. Being like, I'm not sure what the COVID situation is like over with you guys, but we're in lockdown right now.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to touch on that too when it comes to lockdown and mental health, right? COVID here. So we are actually in Texas, in Houston, Texas. So I don't know how much you know about Texas.
It is the Wild West.
We don't listen to anybody.
I love it.
So yeah. So that lockdown, you know, the whole rest of the U.S. could be locked down. Texas is going to be out doing whatever we want to do. Not that that's a good or a bad thing, you know. Some people, it just depends. But
it's just Texas.
Yeah, it's just Texas, you know. But
I love it.
Yeah, we are in that lockdown. We got to a point where a lot of places were closed up. You know, we lost a lot of businesses. Things have really just fallen off because, you know, a lot of people were staying at home. But I know in Australia, you guys are in lockdown. I don't know how long you've been in lockdown now, but I was just curious on how, for you, how that's affected you and your situation. But also too, I mean, it's nice to hear it from the horse's mouth. Not saying you're a horse, but you know,
Call me whatever you want.
but you know, it's good to hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak, in essence, because you hear a lot about Australia. One of the things that you do hear is there's a lot of drugs, this underground kind of, but a lot of drugs, and there is a lot of depression in Australia. And I don't know if that's true or false. You know, you live there, so I would love to hear your take on it and how that's affected in the lockdown, how things have, you know.
Look, you're exactly right. We've got such a big party culture over here, and again, I can't really relate to other areas of the world. Like, I haven't spent too much time in the States. I've spent a little bit of time in Europe and stuff, but
well, you're welcome to Houston, Texas whenever you want to come, man. I got you.
Oh mate, there's the invite. All right,
I got you.
Well, we're not allowed to fly anywhere right now, but you know, I'd love to explore, you know, and this is the stuff that we miss, but you know, there's so many questions I want to answer after what you just said.
Oh, just fire away,
We've been locked
man.
down for like 11 weeks. It's been like 11 weeks. My business has been shut. But for me, it's like, obviously there was a little bit of time where I had a whinge, and it's like, you know, I can't go to pay rent, but I'm not making money because my gym is literally shut. But it meant that I could change my focus to my podcast and think, well, I love podcasting. I love doing what you guys are doing. I love doing what I'm doing right now. This is one of my favorite things to do. So I turned my attention to that, you know, and now I'm podcasting more. So this lockdown thing's hard, man. And you say that the mental health is, you know, a big issue in Australia, and it is. You know, they say that, you know, we've got 9 Australians every day committing suicide, every single day in Australia. Wow. And that's a big stat, right? And 7 of those are males. That's a big reason why, like, I want to keep giving these messages off, because if someone can hear me, you know, speak about my mental health and it helps them, or if I can give 3 simple tips like drink more water, sleep more, you know, and people can adapt just that tiny little bit, it can go a long way. And, you know.
Now, when you say 9 males, or no, sorry, 9 people, 7 being males that are committing suicide a day, I mean, why do you think that is, man? And the reason why I ask that, and it's funny, I say it's funny. God, here I go again. But it's funny that you say that, because, and it's interesting because a lot of times you'd be surprised how many people don't. I know of Australia, but I know nothing about Australia, right? So for me to ask, like, we ask in genuine wanting to know, for you it's probably like, well, duh, guy, because of this, right? But like, why do you think that is? Is it, I mean, because when I think of Australia, man, I think of surf and everybody looks good and is in shape and has fun, and like, you know, like, I mean, that's what I view it as, and I really don't know the dark side, the underside to that. So why do you think that it's so high, or those stats are so high?
Well, look, I mean, because of what you just said, we've got like a beach gotta look good kind of culture, where like you walk down the street and you want to have a 6-pack because the guys next to you have a 6-pack, and it's just, there's just so much judgment, so much pressure. I mean, I guess it's a big reason why I got sick in the first place, because, you know, I was training twice a day and eating not much food. I mean, I was completely shredded. I had like an 8-pack, and it was like,
yeah, man, I seen some of those past photos that you posted, bro.
Yeah. You were there, past photos. Like, that was not anymore, man. But it's hard work keeping that look up, and you know, I'm not sure what it's like over there, but it's so image focused, and I think that with social media these days, like everything looks good. Like, to see someone crying on social media saying that they're depressed is rare, but to see someone flaunting their, you know, great butt or great abs is like, you know, every second photo. So I just think the fact that we're, you know, when we hear this all the time, that, you know, we see people's highlight reels, right? That's what we're looking at. Of course. You know, and it's like, you
said something, man, that really just kind of jumped out at me. It says, you said we're presenting, you know, it's a presentation of yourselves, right? And you're saying in Australia it's a physical presentation, but even on social media, I think one of the biggest things we're starting to see is that we're presenting our best lives, you know, our best our best days, our best moments, but that's actually not how the rest of the day went, you know. And so we create this perception that everything's great, that everything's awesome, that everything's wonderful. But then when the day is over, we're going home to a quiet home and don't know how to work through that or operate through that. And I think that's one of the things that we are running into, is that we've presented ourselves as just beautiful and great and wonderful and it's just a perception, but it's not the reality of it. And we're
goosebumps.
Yeah, we're falling apart on the backside of it, you know. And that's, man, I'm enjoying the conversation. I didn't have a lot of kind of feedback about your podcast prior to getting on, but sitting here listening to you and understanding kind of your journey, I'm hearing. I want to ask you, you know, you probably had an idea of what life would be, right? What you were going to be, what you were going to become, what you wanted to do. Did it ever even click that you would be a voice in this, you know, kind of on this journey with people? Did you ever think that, you know, I have a voice and I want to share it, that you would actually be at this point in life?
Look, it's a really, really good question, and it's hard to answer because I've got depression and I've got a low self-esteem. You know, like, you can say whatever you want, but like, and it does stick. Like, again, like I was saying, the messages that I receive from Shepherd and stuff, like, it does stick. But it's also like, give me a compliment and I'll brush it off and then give you a compliment.
Of course,
it's like I don't deserve that compliment.
Yeah, so, I know how that feels.
As far as having a voice goes, like, I feel like I don't have nearly the voice that I could have. Like, I want to have a bigger voice. I want to reach more people. Did I think that I'd be in this place right now? No, because my mental health for so many years, it ruled me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I thought that I'm going to be just like curled up in a ball somewhere, too scared to open up. But opening up was such a powerful thing for me to do. Shepherd, I don't know how you feel about when you, even just before, when you say that you suffer from depression and stuff, I don't know how that makes you feel, whether you feel a little bit lighter. But I'm at the point now where I've shared it, you know, on the radio. I've shared it with you guys,
right,
who I've only just met, and, you know, I feel so much more comfortable doing it. And look, the voice is only going to get louder. How do I make it louder? I don't really know, but I didn't think I'd be here. No, absolutely not.
I got you.
I mean, it's kind of weird, man. You kind of just fall into where you need to be. I don't think we ever can predict where we're going to be. I think we're supposed to be we're right where we are, you know, doing what we're doing. And, you know, it's one of those situations where, like they say, every decision that you've made in life has put you right here, you know, it puts you right here, right now. So, I mean, as bad as it sounds, man, I mean, I'm glad things have gone the way that they are, because we're getting ready to have this, and we're having these good conversations now, you know, and these will go out into the ether, and hopefully people will listen, and it affects, even if it's just one, you know, if it's one person that we can make that difference. I mean, that's huge, you know, it's huge. But yeah, I mean, I think you're in a good spot. I can't see you doing anything but growing, honestly, man, you know, with everything that you're doing, with everything that you're putting into place. And, you know, one of the reasons why we wanted to start this podcast is because there is just such a lack of genuine people having real conversations, you know, and, you know, mental health is a real thing. And, you know, yeah, you're starting to kind of, I mean, I don't know how it is down there, but in the States, you're kind of starting to see it on TV a little bit more, you know, talked about, oh, if you're having mental health problems, whatever. But, you know, it's always just been a passing thing here. And if it wasn't something that was news or trendy where people could get clicks, you know, it just fades away rapidly. And there's still a large group of people out there that need help and don't know how to get it, or don't know what to do, or maybe they feel like how you felt or how I felt, and they feel alone, and they don't have that family or that wife or whatever to reach out to, you know. And we wanted to be a voice that people could listen to and find comfort in, you know, and being able to see someone that's doing something like you're doing over there on the other side of the world, man. I mean, that just gives me so much more hope that there are, you know, more and more genuine people out there that want to make a difference, for sure, man. For sure.
No, awesome. What's the chat like over there? Like, for example, this week we've got Are You OK Day. Do you have Are You OK Day? Do you know what that is? Or is that just an Australian thing? I think it's an Australian thing.
Yeah, I think it's an Australian thing. We don't have Are You OK Day. We have Stay Out of My Way. You know,
which is that road rage. No, Are You OK Day?
But that's the thing here. In the States, I mean, the most really that you would kind of see is like you'll see something around suicide. You know, but it's not like we're gonna stop and make, you know, there's awareness around this, right? It's like, you know, you'll catch 30-second commercial in between shows because they need filler, you know. I think they kind of shy away
we're starting to see more and more about it. And I'll share this with you. Culturally, you know, in the Black, the African American community, whatever you want to call it, we don't generally do this
at
right?
all. No,
you know what?
Share, like share emotions,
or not necessarily emotion, or about your mental health. So we'll be emotional, but we won't know why we were emotional because we didn't share the mental health perspective. We didn't talk about that. We didn't really work through it, you know, and going to somebody to get help was almost taboo.
Oh yeah, you don't do that.
You know, you don't do that, right? Because what goes on in this home kind of stays in this home. And we continue to perpetuate this just bad behavior at the end of the day. But now we're starting to see us, you know, being able to have these types of conversations and involve people who are willing to share their life's experience. That then helps us all grow at the end of the day. And I think that's why we're here at this moment. Like you said, this is not by accident, but it's on purpose that we all three are here today to have this conversation and to be able to open this book up, you know, across the globe.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. And it's just here in Australia, it's just such a different place. Like if we were to sit down at a pub or a restaurant or whatever. Not that we can now because we're in lockdown, but you know, if we can all sit down with a group of people and we start speaking about mental health, it's so much more of a normalized thing, which is great. And I'm only realizing this now speaking to you guys. You know, sometimes until you start to voice something, you don't really think about it. But yeah, it is a different thing now. Like there's lots of like men's groups and stuff, which sounds like, you know, it just sounds like a group of men like hugging, singing Kumbaya and stuff. But it's like I've got mates who run these little organizations, like one's called 2 Minute Mates and one's called Bro Chats, and they do like men walks and stuff where like they'll catch up and they'll just like what. And sure, you go to these things and it's just guys just laughing and being idiots and like and connecting and stuff. But it's, you know, as soon as someone speaks about, hey, I'm suffering from, you know, anxiety, like you give someone a chance to have a conversation and start speaking, and like stuff starts to come out. And like whether you're someone who suffers from depression or you're someone who doesn't suffer from depression, we all have our issues, right? You know, like you might be struggling at work, you know, you might be fighting with your partner, you might be whatever, and as soon as you kind of open up, people can relate and can help you. It's not like, you know, you're being a counselor. You're just having a conversation with a friend.
Yeah, right. And it's just building that trust factor, right? The more and more we can have those conversations, the more and more I trust that you won't throw me out to the wolves, but that you'll be able to handle, you know, this big thing that I'm about to drop on you, right? And if you can't, then you can help me find somebody who can. And I think that's we're getting to that place, right? No, we're getting more and more to that place, hopefully.
For sure. No,
we all grieve through different things. Sorry, Shep.
No, you're good. Good.
We all grieve through different things as well. Like, you know, I mean, what happens if someone you know passes away? What if someone needs you?
Right.
You know, someone's not gonna sit next to you and go, oh, look, one of your best friends, and say, I'm struggling at the moment. You're gonna go, oh shit, gross. Go and find someone else. You know, you say, well, what can I do? What do you need from me? And you know, so much of it is listening. It's just saying, tell me what's going on. And then once someone starts to speak, there might be a few tears, there might be a bit of laugh, whatever. You start to feel better.
Right. No, I agree with you 100%, man. And that's, I don't know. I mean, I guess for me though, too, I guess having that initial first step, that's always the hardest part. I mean, for me, right, is getting past, like once I get those words out, it's a lot easier. Things start flowing, right? But I mean, how do you deal, or how do you tell people to deal with getting over that roadblock, with initiating that step to say, hey, I think I need to get help. Now I'm going to go do what?
Well, look, I'm a big believer in practicing what you preach, but this is a tough area for me because I will still tend to suffer in silence. The amount of people that I have around me who say, call me when you're not doing well. I'm like, yeah, no problem. And I just won't. But I am getting better at it. But it is about, you've seen Happy Gilmore, the movie Happy Gilmore.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
The golfing movie.
It's
so
all in the
there's a
hips.
part. It's an old one, yeah. There's a part where he goes to his happy place.
Right.
And it's all a big joke. Like there's there's money everywhere, and there's like these midgets running around on horses and stuff, and like it's a joke. But that's like what I try and get people to do, to find your happy place. Like if you look on my Instagram today, you'll see there's like I filmed like this really nice view, which is just up the road from my house.
Right.
And I know that if I can get into my happy place for a little bit, I'm going to be more. I'm going to work up a bit more courage to actually share and be like, "Oi, I'm not doing too good right now." Maybe send a message to a friend of mine. But the thing is, because people know that I do suffer, some of my best mates will kind of know. My best mate in the world. It's his birthday today, actually. He's not answering his phone. He'll just keep on calling me every day, and I won't answer for 4 or 5 days. I'll answer on the Friday, and then I'll be like, "Hey man," he's like, "You've been struggling out." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, fucking answer the phone." I'm like, "Yeah, I just couldn't, but now I can," and it feels better. It feels better to laugh and smile with a good friend. So you ask me a question and I elaborate like this. It's how I roll, man.
That's what we want, man. That's what we want. We want to hear, So I mean, for you now, you have a good following in the internet world, right? And so do you find it, I mean, being in your position, do you still feel alone, man? I mean, with so many people that are behind you and rooting for you, like, do you still, like, how does that work? I mean, you're kind of a mini celebrity to me, man. So I don't know, like, how does it work? How does it work for you?
Well, look, thank you. Being called a mini celebrity is just like ridiculous. So shush. But look, for me, I don't know exactly what I'm trying to accomplish, but I don't feel like I'm even nearly there. So it's hard to answer that question. But do I feel like I am alone? When I'm really depressed, it's not like I feel alone. I just feel depressed. I'm trying to think of the best ways to put this. I definitely feel like, and again, I don't know if you feel like this too, Shepard, but when I do feel as low as I feel, I think, does anyone else in the world actually feel like this? This bad?
Right.
When they must, because people are ending their lives, and I would never go and actually do that. But the lowest of low feelings, I feel like I've felt, and in those moments, do I feel alone? Yeah, I definitely feel alone, because I just feel so damn flat. Right.
I know. I mean, for me, it's definitely. I don't know. I've struggled with it to where I've gotten to the point where I almost feel like I deserve the suffering. I feel like that low point is where I deserve to be, and then I like keep myself there purposefully because like I deserve this. I deserve this hurt. I deserve this like sunken low feeling. And I hang out in there for, I mean, man, I can be in that hole for days, weeks, you know, and I sabotage happiness because that's what I feel I deserve, you know. And I don't know, for me, I guess it's trying to find now more of how I can be in touch with my emotions to pull myself out, or be able to hurt and let go, or whatever it may be, whatever I need at that point in time. Because like I said, coming from a Black community, you know, you were never given those kinds of tools to deal with those situations, you know. So you're kind of just out there on your own trying to figure it all out, and you know, it gets dark, man. It gets I think dark is a understatement, you know.
Well, like I'm sorry that you get to those places. You have to know that you're not alone, because you pretty much said a similar thing to what I just said about that flat feeling and sabotaging your happiness. That's something that I feel like I do as well, and I've never really thought about that. And I've literally never thought about that, but that's kind of what I do as well. Where's your happy place? Is it behind the microphone? Is it, you know, like, are there places in your life where you're like, ooh, like whether it's driving in the car, whether it's, you know, I don't know, everyone's got different things. And do you have anywhere where you feel like clearly right now?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good spot, right? Because, you know, it's a comfortable place, you know, and I feel, you know, I've known Aaron for a long time, right? So he's a comfortable place, man. You're a very welcoming, warming guy. You're comfortable. You seem like a comfortable place, right? So it's a good spot, right? I am happy here. I'm happy being able to make content that can hopefully help improve people's lives, or hopefully help, you know, like you said, help people not feel alone, right? I am trying to find where my overall, I guess, in my daily, like if this was taken away, where would my happy place be? That's a hard thing to say, you know. I feel because I've always, for lack of a better word, I've always ran, you know. I've always ran, and you know, we've had some conversations about, you know, even like I used to live in Hawaii for a while, right? And it's some of the most beautiful places in the world, in Maui, and I was miserable, right? So, you know, it was all my mindset. It was all my mindset of how I felt, or whatever. And I do self-sabotage. And also I do judge myself very, very harsh, you know? So, I mean, I've been going through, and a lot of the reasons why this podcast has come up too has been, you know, spurred on by COVID and everything. And a lot of people were put in a position where now you're stuck with your thoughts. You know, now you have to work things through. All the distractions are gone, you know, and you have to figure out where you're headed, who you are, you know, what do you really like, what do you really enjoy. And I'm on that journey right now, right? I'm trying to find now to where it's like, what's more important, you know? I mean, we only get to do this life this one way, one time, you know, depending on whatever you believe. But, you know, you have to make the best of it. And, you know, I don't know how it is there, which the States has been kind of, you know, there's an outline of what your life should be. And a lot of us get stuck in trying to fulfill that outline. Like, you need to do this by this age, and 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 you better own this and own that, and do this and do that. And everybody kind of follows that same regimen, you know, and we get so caught up in that we don't stop to think, what really makes me happy? You know, what is my life about, right? Am I living my life, or am I living what everybody wants me to live? And we don't take that time. And that's what I'm really trying to do now. And it's, you know, unfortunately, it's later than I would have liked it to be, but you know, it's about happiness, right? And it's about finding that inner peace, and it's about finding ways to put good things back You know, we as Americans, we're consumers. We take a lot and we don't put much back, you know. And what can we do now? And that's just kind of where my headspace is now, man. You know, what can I do that's going to make an impact, make a difference, you know?
Well, you're doing that.
Well, I'm trying, man. I got, you're setting a good example. I'm just trying to be like you, but man, you know what I'm saying?
Don't try too hard, because I'll tell you what, it's it's pretty hard. Yeah, look, thanks for sharing, man. Like, I know that you're the one that's, you know, interviewing.
We're just here having a conversation, man.
But totally. But it's, you know, it's nice to hear you speak about things, and so many of the things that both of you have said just kind of really jump at me. And, you know, big thing there was happiness, was finding that fulfillment. Like, what, and this is what my ongoing thing is, trying to find what actually makes me fulfilled. Like, what, you know, you hear people say, you know, there's a guy that I've got on my podcast tomorrow, and his ultimate, what he believes success is the first few seconds when you wake up in the morning. Are you happy? Are you excited to get out of bed? And that sticks with me, because it's like, I get up at 4:30 in the morning to go into work, sometimes earlier. You know, I'm like, I'm not jumping out of bed all excited, you know, like, and I kind of look at the things that I do enjoy, and, you know, and the things that I am good at. There's so much that I completely suck at from a work standpoint. You know, I get so stressed around the gym and around money, and, you know, but then there's stuff like podcasting and running events and health retreats and all this kind of stuff that stuff makes me feel fulfilled. Picking my son up from school and watching him, you know, smile, so excited to see me, like, that is like fulfillment. However, there's still parts that need work. I think as long as we're going on, like, on the right plane, should I say, then I think we're doing okay. But sometimes it's like, it's messy. Like, if you're just climbing the corporate ladder and, like, just to make more money, I don't think that's it. You know, I don't think that's it.
No,
unless you are happy doing it.
I agree. I don't think anybody is, right? Because you always see them, and then they hit that pinnacle, and then they quit to go do, you know, whatever charity work in some third world country, right? Because they're not fulfilled. I do have a question for you, because in the past podcasts we had talked about time, and, you know, people make excuses. They say, oh, I can't do this because I'm too busy. I can't do that because I'm too busy. Time in a day, et cetera, et cetera. Well, it's a two-part question, but I guess the first I'll ask is, for you are a business owner, whatever. You say you get up at 4:30 in the morning. What does a day look like in the life for Matt, right? And how do you see things going for you once you come out of lockdown? You know, it's back to the grindstone. That gym opens back up. How do you see your day? Is it going to change, or how do you see, you know, your podcast and everything going forward for you?
Yeah, look, that's the $1 million question right there, my friend. I've just been through some really big changes. Like, my business partner and I split up just as we went into lockdown. Not because of lockdown, it was happening anyway. So when I go back to the gym's going to be mine again, rather than in a partnership that just wasn't working out. So I'm really, really focusing on what you just asked me. I'm focusing on what my day looks like so I can be happy. There still will be early starts, but, you know, I go into the gym in the morning, I run a few classes, I'll be there for half the day, and then I like to come home. So I run my lunchtime class in the gym, and then I come home and try and pick my son up from school, because that's important to me. It's important for me to be able to pick him up, you know. But then what is going to be the most important factor for me is putting days aside. Like, today is Tuesday here in Sydney, and I don't work today. So this is like my content day, and I love it. You know, I get to wake up a little bit later, take my son to school, and, like, you know, by later it's still like 5:45. But still, I'm up, and I get to help my wife take my other two kids to daycare, get them ready and stuff like that. And This is the stuff that I really love doing, and then putting content together is something that I love doing. And this is where my brain works best.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't work best if I used to be in the gym before I'm meeting my business partner, you know, and just thinking about work.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to put in the hours to make the money, you know. I was getting to the gym at 5:30 in the morning, getting there. So I was waking up at 4 something, and then I'd get home at 7:30 at night, 8 o'clock at night.
Wow.
So that's like 15 hours. I don't know.
That's ridiculous.
Right.
And I wasn't making any money. I was just like, I was confused. I was thinking, well, I'm running the rat rate. I'm going into work. I'm doing work. I'm going in. I'm, you know, putting the hours in, but the members weren't coming in.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't running events because I love running events, these mental health events and stuff. And I wasn't running them because I was focused on the gym, and it just wasn't making me happy. But, you know, that's going to change because I know that there's more important stuff than the gym. The members of my gym know how much I love them and they love me, but, you know, being able to put on these health retreats and, you know, host great guests on my podcast and be invited on, this is what I'm about and what I want to focus the rest of my life on.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, we are coming up on our 50-minute point, man, and I just want to see if there's anything, words of wisdom or whatever that you can leave my listeners with, if they need help, if they need anything. What do you got for them? I know you got something.
Imagine if after all this I'm just like, yeah, nah. Look, I like to live my life by a few main principles, and this is what I'm kind of basing, you know, the rest of my podcast journey on, and even the rest of my life on, because these are my life principles. And I guess I wanted to share the first one with you, and it's surround yourself with good people. This is my strongest belief. My strongest belief is that the people that we have around us is everything, you know. When you're flat, they'll pick you up. When they're flat, you'll pick them up. Like, it's a great cycle. And, you know, if the people around you make you angry, if you're jealous and envious and, you know, whatever of them, get rid of it. You don't need them, you know. Like, I'm at a stage in my life now where I don't have to, you know, be walking around the streets with the flashy clothes and trying to look cool. I did all that stuff, you know, but now the people that I have around me are everything. And this just, if I had any advice, if you take anything away from this, it's just to associate yourself with people who inspire you, who make you smile, make you laugh. And, you know, what a life. If you're constantly around people that are making you happy, that's where you find your happiness. If you're searching for happiness, you know, look at your life, and, you know, that's how you're going to get inspired, is by the people you have around you, and the places too, like that happy place thing I was banging on about before. Like, the places that you're in. If I'm going to the gym every single day and I hate it, I'm going to be miserable.
Right.
You know,
right.
So I put a little podcast studio in the back, you know, split up with my business partner, and like now I love that place. And, you know, I know that if I spend more time at the beach, I'm going to be happier. So, yeah, there's your
my little nugget.
Unless you have anything else.
Little nugget of wisdom, man. No, man. I appreciate that. You know, I appreciate you even fitting us in and taking the time to kind of just have a conversation, man. I mean, it was great for me. I can't speak for both of you guys, but it was great for me being able to have you on and just kind of have a conversation, see how things are going for you on the other side of the world. And, you know, this goes to show that we are not alone in this world. There's more people like us, and we're all here to help try to make the place a better place.
Before we go, man, I just wanted to say, I didn't know what to expect out of this conversation that we were going to have today. But one of the things I really appreciate was your candidness and your just your openness to be able to have this conversation. Because I heard your story, but even more importantly, I heard his. And I was able to sit here and just listen to my co-host, my partner, my business partner, begin to share stuff that I'd never heard before. And so what I really appreciate about this conversation is I'm going away from it with a different level of understanding and even some tools on how to maybe even be a better friend, you know? And so to both of you all, for your candidness and for your just openness to be able to share tonight, I really do appreciate it. And yeah, there's a lot of learning in this night for me. And so I really do appreciate this time. Yeah, I really do.
I've been I kid you not, I know you're big, tough Texans. Is that Texans?
I'm a Louisiana boy, so.
Oh, whatever,
you know,
yeah.
I'm a transplant to Texas.
Texans.
But I've been, I'm just making up shit over here. But I've been holding back tears a couple times in this conversation today, because it's just, you know, the passion. You guys clearly love what you do, and I'm so grateful for your kind words, and you've spoken too highly of me, but I'm just, honestly, I could not be more grateful for this time that we've shared today. And, you know, on what you just said, man, this is what needs to happen more often.
Right,
you start talking, and then you learn. The outsider, the guy who doesn't suffer from depression is oh, maybe I should be asking him how he's doing more often.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Matt, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you one more time so we can close it out here.
So Instagram is @_Matt_Grant_, and the podcast is Real Life with MG, and that's about it.
And that's it. There it is, guys. We have Matt Grant, special guest for the night. Hope you guys enjoyed, and let's get on out of here.
Yeah, I'm ready to play now. Put me in the game now. I came here to prove it. I'm ready to do it. I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now. I'm ready to rage now. I feel like an animal stuck in a cage, and I'm ready to break out. So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up.